Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Samantha and I'm your Chief Flight Attendant. Welcome aboard Cordon Airlines Flight 123, nonstop service from Kerrville to the Philippines. At this time, make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in the full upright position and that your seatbelt is correctly fastened. All your portable electronic devices must be set to airplane mode until an announcement is made upon arrival. Thank you.
We would now like to direct your attention to the screens in front of you so we may share some general information about the Philippines. The Philippines are made up of over 7,000 different islands, however, only 2,000 of which are inhabited by humans. The largest island of the Philippines is Luzon, which contains 1/3 of the land and half of the population. The general weather forecast includes temperatures cooler than November through January, dropping below 85 degrees Fahrenheit. The summer months of April and May have temperatures of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The Filipino flag is a great symbolization of the current state of the country. The flag is flown with the blue band at the top in times of peace and the red band at the top in times of war. Flag ceremonies take place once a week, and similarly to the U.S., all government offices and schools have a flag ceremony each morning. All traffic stops while the flag is being honored. The unemployment rate is over 9%, and unfortunately, 50% of the population lives below the poverty line. While families desire male children, females are welcome to supply help in the homes and manage money. The median age for marriage is 22. While arranged marriages have not been a part of the Filipino lifestyle, divorce is illegal. However, annulments are available for the dissolution of a marriage. The infant mortality rate is 48.9%, and 1/3 of children are malnourished. Over 13% of preschool and elementary school children are underweight.
A 24-hour vigil is held at the deceased person's home and the body is escorted to the cemetery after the religious ceremony. Mourning is continued for 6 weeks after the death of a family member. It may consist of a black pin worn on the blouse or shirt of the mourner or black clothing. Mourning is put aside after 1 year. A meal or party is provided for family members and close friends 1 year after the burial to commemorate the memory of the deceased. All Saints' Day, November 1st, is a national holiday to honor the dead. Grave sites are cleared of debris and repaired. Families meet at the cemetery and stay throughout the 24 hours. Candles and flowers are placed on the grave. When a family member visits a grave during the year, pebbles are placed on the grave to indicate that the deceased has been remembered. Now something that we are all excited about, food. Filipinos do not consider a spread a meal if rice is not served. Plain steamed rice is the basis of the diet. Filipino food is not spicy and is allowed to get cold before it is eaten. Table knives are not used. It is acceptable to eat food with one's hands at restaurants as well as in the home. Breakfast is served at 6 a.m. and consists of food left over from the night before. It is also not reheated. Fruits are abundant all year. Several kinds of bananas are eaten, including red and green varieties. Mangoes, the national fruit, are sweet and juicy. Fast food has become very popular with all meals including rice. On the 8 scales of the culture map, the Philippines rank very differently from the United States in communicating, trusting, disagreeing, and scheduling. In comparison, they rank similarly in evaluating, leading, and deciding. They do not rank on the scale of persuading because they value holistic means of communication. People from the Philippines would have the greatest amount of difficulty adjusting to the communication patterns, persuading others, and developing trust because they scored exactly opposite from that of America. They would also struggle with handling disagreements and adjusting to scheduling, as they scored very differently than the majority of Americans. They would have little to no difficulty adjusting to the common skills for evaluation, dominant leadership tactics, and strategies to making decisions, as they scored similarly to the United States in these categories.
Based on Hofstede's 5 cultural dimensions, the Philippines ranked dissimilarly in power distance, individualism, and indulgence. However, they ranked similarly in masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, and long-term orientation. Based on the dimensions, people from the Philippines would have the most difficulty adjusting to the culture of the U.S. in power distance and individualism. They would have the least amount of trouble in masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence, based on the scales they rate similarly to the US. It is very important not to lose face in the Philippines. Being corrected or correcting another person in public is not considered an acceptable behavior. People want to grant all requests, and so they often say yes when they mean no or maybe. When one is asked to join a family for a meal, the offer must be refused. If the invitation is extended a second time, it is permissible to accept. Time consciousness and time management are not important considerations. A planned meeting may take place later or much later or never.
Some general information to keep in mind throughout the flight is that the Philippines has a population of over 100 million. The average life expectancy is 67 years old. The native languages are Filipino and English. The most common religions practiced in this area are Catholicism, Islam, and Evangelical Christianity. The Filipino immigrant community in the United States jumped from 100,000 in 1960 to more than 1,800,000 in 2013. We would now like to suggest that you look out your window to admire the beautiful landscape of the Philippines.
Attention passengers! We are now landing in the beautiful Philippines. We hope that you keep all of this information in mind as you begin to explore. We hope you have an excellent stay, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.